Welcome back to Lucky Basics. Today we're going to talk about how you literally have always been enough just as you are, okay? So, what if everything you've been waiting to become, you already are, okay? And I want to ask you something, and I just want you to sit with this for a second and think about it. What if you actually were enough this whole time? Not after you landed your new promotion, not after you lose in like 10 more pounds or whatever. Not when you finally feel like you have your life together. Right now, like literally this moment, what if you were already worthy of your life? And the common belief that we see in everyday life is people walking around with this thought that they're not quite there yet in life, whatever that really means. They need another course, they need another year of experience, they need another sign before they're allowed to actually go after what they want and then be worthy of what they want. And so this creates this narrative in our mind that worthiness is something we have to earn. But the people who actually changed the world and built lives that look impossible from the outside are never more qualified than you, okay? They aren't smarter, they aren't born with a specific ingredient. The literal only difference is that they decided they were enough before they had any proof, okay? And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that decision looks like in real life. We're going to walk through examples, we're going to walk through people who did it when they weren't ready, but because they believed they were worthy. And there's that quote that's like, sorry, you'll go so much further in life just by trying and starting, even if you feel fear, because you're trying, which is huge. All right, so number 1, the waiting trap. This is what we're going to talk about. There's a pattern that everyone who feels stuck in life shares. It's called the waiting moment. It sounds like I'll start when I'm ready, I'll go for it when the timing is right, I just need more confidence. We all know that voice. I've heard that voice. I know you've heard it. And here's the brutal truth about that voice. It's not protecting you, it's actually keeping you small. Confidence does not come before action, it comes from action. Okay? Every time you wait for permission to start, you're training your brain to believe that you're not capable of beginning without it. Okay? And this matters because the longer you stay in the waiting room of your own life, the more that the waiting room starts to feel like your identity, and you stop seeing it as a temporary pause, you start seeing it as who you are, and that's the real trap. Okay, because you were never meant to wait for a certain moment in your life when you were worthy. You were meant to just live your life because you are worthy. And here's what I want you to get from this video and want you to see is some of the most iconic people in modern history were standing exactly where you are in your life right now, and they had every reason to wait, but they just didn't. Okay, let's talk about someone who's been in the news recently. Let's talk about Jim Carrey, okay? Before he was famous, he drove to Hollywood Hills every week and would write himself a check for $10 million dated 6 years in the future for acting services. Okay, do you know how much faith you have to have in yourself? He had to believe that he was worthy of being an actor before he ever got a job acting and before he ever got like a lead role that would be worth $10 million. He carried this in his wallet until it disintegrated. And this just shows that he never had proof of being a really well-known actor. He just had the belief that he was worthy for it. And this is great for us because this isn't a fairy tale. These are blueprints of people that have lived and accomplished this before us. The pattern is always the same in life. You have to believe before you see the evidence. You have to make a decision before you have certainty that it's going to work out. You have to proceed without certainty in life. And the feeling of being enough is never going to be a destination you arrive at. Even when I'm sure he became a famous actor, he probably had moments where he was up for roles and he didn't feel worthy or he didn't feel ready, but he had to keep taking action. So it's a choice that you have to make every day before it happens. You have to choose that you're worthy. Okay, next point is let's talk about the decisions that you've been postponing in your life. Here's what's going on. Your brain has been running a story that says, someone like me doesn't have that. I'm not the type of person who can succeed. Or other people are just built differently. And that story to you feels like your reality, but it's not. It's just your habits and your habit of thought. And the habit of thought can be changed. And so essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you repeatedly tell yourself you're worthy and you can accomplish this dream that you have, regardless if you don't know anyone that's accomplished it, you can, through repeating it and telling it to yourself. So like you can do this by asking yourself, if I already believed I was enough, what would I do today that I've been postponing? So if you already believed that you were worthy of achieving that dream life that you have for yourself, or becoming that successful person or something, what action would you do today regardless of where you're at? And maybe that's just sending an email to someone, maybe that's starting a project, maybe that's talking to someone. Whatever it is, that's your answer, that's the decision that you have to make, and as long as you're making a decision, you're moving forward. Because here's the thing with life, you never need more time, you just need different beliefs. The version of you waiting to feel ready is the same version that's going to be waiting 5 years from now. Unless something changes, nothing will change, okay? Nothing changes if nothing changes, y'all know that. But the good news is you can decide to change, because you have all the power to, it's within your control to change your belief and change your decision on what you want to do. Alright, so now we're getting into your new reality. Let's just conclude all this. You've been waiting to feel ready, I'm sure, for a minute now, but Jim Carrey didn't feel ready, and instead he decided to make a decision first. And then that readiness followed, because probably after he got a really good acting job, he was like, oh, I can do this, and it's gonna happen. And so then that readiness just keeps propelling him forward. The only problem is the waiting trap that we're gonna get you out of. And even if you feel like, I don't know if I can get out of the waiting trap, just remember that the story that your brain is telling you is never real, okay? You can change that, because it's just like when you travel, you think that you have to live your life a certain way, and then you go to a different country and you see them living life a completely different way. It just shows you that the things that your brain tells you and the things that you think are true can always be changed, okay? So your decisions and the life you're living can always be changed. And if this hits something in you, if you recognize that voice, then this is your chance to change and decide that you're going to do differently, and you're going to leave the waiting room and you're going to live your life. And I hope you do that, and I'm going to leave you with this. Mark Twain once said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started, not getting ready, not getting perfect, getting started. You've been enough to start this whole time. The only question left is, will you? So I hope you decide today to get started, and I hope this video was motivating you in your life on this journey so that we all can succeed together. And yeah, bye guys.